UI ni hua PhD ka bolin today Senate Man's College ka assistant professor sociology ka hile ji chu hin tin dunia I head diwa thamkhat ikipat masangubin I head diwa deyum ho thamkhat in thonglang ka ting participant zo sin lungsit ten audio le video hi off so kayutin IPS ki seham tia hi le a bandwidth jong hi abang le tuni hi participant atamin chakat 100 hingwin a bandwidth hi hung thom khale ti jong hi doubtful hi ji chun ana off utin a hin question dong nom hon Zoom chat box le YouTube on live ki bolin YouTube comment azong comment na hin pe wa hi le ken ka hin sim do ji ding hi comment ke wi lo azong a ki chai phat le session speaker pan thu hin chai phat le face to face azong na ki ho pi nom wa hi le phat hung ke hong ding hin chuta le ahung zo sin participant zo sin question dong ding zo sin khabe bo se na do thei diu khabe phat na hung ki pe wa hi le nakilepi kitalo diu hi tiong chu mel chi utin ai chu adong nom question dong nom atam ji jen khabe bo chance in ei diu he chuta le lung sit ten participant zo sin video off utin improper behavior ti chu look mun ai loa hi le ipiha video ona ba le chi le look mun na beho ti ho hi bol po tin ai chu live recording ki bol hi in jong le YouTube azong ola ki uploading hi in amail si in ji nung sit in participant zo chin video zo si off tin audio jong off tin session ki chai phat le na ho na phat hung ki peding hi in hi chun ki he the mu te ti ong chu in sei ma sat win tin tu in program I pat thein di win welcome speech saying in Golang Amjalun Baite, General Secretary, Cookie Students Organization, Selong Branch. Amain welcome speech ACP Vintin, Zero Palaban, and a Chiki. Hello, Funpu Nazam. Hello. Hello. Funpu Nazam. Okay. Amahi a font a network su lo ham piti ham ke hapon. President pu kailun mam. Tom. Hello. Ki sana chuna.
Funpu, you have to join via audio. No khatsa ki zalo.
Kailun mam le. Hello.
Go.
Hey. Lun da President pu da
Kazai.
Funpu chu aboy hintin ai loi le kat network su lo ham phat di hi na. Welcome speech to nangin saying na President Cookie Students Organization Long Branch Golang Kai Min Lun Chong Loyen welcome speech in say pe like paminte
Kipao min GS bu boy jet men network hoi lo hintin jong lakin hin la jing kating atum be Channa third edition KSO Shillong branch Noya itabang talk show tidham ya via Juma kyotheya pa ip ikidwa patienang thangwa in men lang apat na penin chule abanin tuni nila akyo khom na thei dinga ahin gung host ni hin chule education langa lamkai te ni hin adin ma ho chunga yang ki pathu kisein tengle tunia phat mun ila video pu pg Singsit ma yang ilim win ibon cha win ikilim win za utin nom ta in frank free and frank na nom ta in za utin phat jang phat chom pi utin tuni tha kyo khom na hong pang jo se participant hi jo se welcome ki bolve KSO minin teacher kan say do hinte once again welcome everyone.
Okay. Ipamin KSO Shillong branch President Puakunin welcome speech when ngai tawin. Tuin speaker pa iko masang bin floor ipi masang bin a biodata hin simhang kating. Mi josian mi tam ten het nom diu kata sanin hizitun atom lam ten a biodata hin simhang kate. Amina hile P Golungmun Singsit, father's name Dr. Seikulun Singsit, Dr. S. Singsit Kinrong Kehen, retired senior medical officer. Mother's name hile Zamtian Ching Singsit. Tu letua present posting hile assistant director Manipur Police Training College Pangay Manipur hin. UPSC he 2009 chun clear in rank 565 rank ani in. ST hola adinga topper IPS officer hola topper ani hi. Qualified for IFS but opted for IPS. IFS ading in qualified na hi in IPS o anatan hi. Chule educational qualification ho atom lam ta in singe. Class 10 here hile Wesley Boys High School, Secunderabad, 1998 in Anachayan. Class 12 hile Little Flower Junior School, Upal, Hyderabad, 2000 in Anachayan. BSc here hile Bhavans Degree College, Secunderabad, 2003. Osmania University in Anachayan. Master of Science here University of Hyderabad, School of Life Sciences, 2005 in Anachaye. Azo akan say bangchun 2009 in UPSC and clear in HC ahin muzo apa na posting ho history of postings ho ana hinsimdo inge khatna in SDPO yai report Thobar district Manipur ani na in SDPO Lamlai Imphal East Manipur ADC atum na in ADC to the Governor of Manipur, ali na in Commandant 8 IR CDO Battalion Imphal, anga na in Superintendent of Police CID Security Imphal ahin, agup na in Assistant Director Manipur Police Training College Pangay Manipur, asagi na in Superintendent of Police Noni District Manipur. Itiho hi posting anat kha na ho in tuin azo ka se bangin Pangaya Assistant Director Police Training College ako na hi chule ama hobbies ho hile he loves reading, cooking, hiking and many others in his free time. Hano ma mazingin hobbies ho hile chule tu le tua na hi hile Lamphil Government Quarter, Imphal, Manipur hin. Permanent address hi hile Churchandpur, Manipur hi hi atom lam ta tuni resource person pa who Golungmun Singsit IPS isimdo tewin tin simding tam ta jong awmin hizong le atom lam ta tunia isay te pen no isay in pondo ten hi chen chu hin tin kasi bangin dunia technical host able PU le Dr. Thomas Vaipei the dia ko na in ama chunga jang ke pathu in sevin kasi bangin video to audio nung sit in off so okay utin kichai part hung kipeding hi in nung sit in participant zosin resource person pan floor in la masangin audio le video hi ana off so okay utin silent na koi so okay utin chu in say no maintain. I'm so sorry to tell you, but Rivka hikoyham lungsita Rivka RIVKA na video chun off the dam lungsita Reverend Father I mean kay kat thepon. Okay, thank you. Hangkulen ulen lungsit in Realme 6 Patoy. Please off your video. Thank you. Hiti suka hin check video hin ji chu live streaming ki bola his in abang le iwa le jivin abang le imloy ji win ta hoi ji poni ya chu request ki bola hin ki het hemutin tu in tu ni resource person pa pu golungmun Singsit IPS floor la dingin ipitaw ne.
Ilhap ha nabon chawin English pau kahin manding ahin akala la lei pau chung zau thunan tin ka se ding oi English pau ka se le ung ki chi zo dinga ka mu ji English pau hin sing ka te. Thank you KSO Shillong and especially Supi Thomas Haukam, Supi Thangolin Kipgen for the kind invitation and opportunity to interact with students of KSO Shillong. And I'm told that there are other students joining from other parts of India also, and I'm grateful to be with all of you today. It is my prayer that this talk or this session would be helpful and beneficial to all the participants in some way or the other. This morning, I was having my morning devotion, and the portion that I read kind of goes well, or I'm trying to connect it with the talk tonight. It is regarding a passage to do with conversation between Jesus Christ and Matthew, where Jesus called Matthew to follow him, where Jesus said, "Follow me, leave all, get up and..." No, Jesus said, "Follow me," and Matthew left all, he got up and followed him. Passage pa hi kagelai le eho career planning tidiham eho career related point of view of Dingchun. Our goals are calling us, or our aim in life is calling us, and as the calling comes to us, we are asked to leave everything else. We are asked to get up, and we are asked to pursue this aim in life or career for life single-mindedly with all that we have. Chipahi, I'm trying to relate with what I have read this morning, and I thought I'll just share with all of you if it is helpful in any way. And I just want to bring up the motto of KSO Shillong, where it says, "Learn, unite, and serve." I was just pondering over the motto this afternoon, and according to my understanding, learn would be something to do with striving for excellence, and to unite would be something to do with supporting one another and encouraging one another, and to serve would be to be available anytime, anywhere for one another or for the good of others. So that is my understanding of KSO Shillong motto, and I really appreciate this motto that they have. I will talk about this motto and few other things as we go in our talk. And I am grateful to Sopi Thangolin Kipgen for the warm introduction and giving a brief account of who I am and my educational background, my family background, and my professional background also. And I believe all of you have heard him and got some idea about who I am. I will speak a little bit more about it in the after some time also. So today my talk would be to do with 2 points, 2 broad points. One would be to talk about my story or my humble story. It's not a big story, but it's a very humble story that I have. And I thought I would share with all of you and see if the simple circumstances that I have in life or I face in life and how I approach those circumstances, those challenges, and how it has shaped me over the years. I thought I would share some of them to you. And then the second one would be touching upon some random thoughts here and there, which I have picked up along the way in life. And I would share how it has shaped my thinking in the past and how it is shaping my thinking even now at present also. So with this short introduction or short overview of what I'm going to share today, I just want to say that these views or these things that are thoughts that are expressed today would be more of a personal view, and it is not meant to offend anyone. So let us start the talk with a little bit about my story and something, and hopefully we can learn something from my story. As a child, I grew up in Churachandpur. I did my schooling there. I went to a school called Blue Star Academy. I studied my nursery and finished my 9th class in 1997. And because of the ethnic conflict which has happened in 1997, I was compelled to leave the state for further studies, and that's how I ended up in Hyderabad and started doing my education there, and even completed my MSc, as our brother Tangolin has just mentioned. But during these formative years as a child, or I'll call it childhood years, something that I've learned is that I always have God in my life. And this I say, and I'm thankful to my parents for inculcating this love for God at a young age and teaching us about the Word of God. And I say this also because it has helped me to understand what is right from wrong based on the Word of God. And it has helped me overcome many challenges or many dilemmas in life as a young child growing up. That is one thing. The second one is something to do with determination and commitment. This is something that I learned when I was in class 10 in Hyderabad. I left Manipur in 1997, as I have mentioned. I reached Hyderabad somewhere in July 1997 and started my class 10 there. It was quite a challenge, moving from one corner of India in the northeast to some place down south, which was totally new. People were different, cultures were different, food were different, and educational curriculums were different, and many things that needs to be adjusted to. And it was quite a challenge. And I was a young boy of just 13 years, starting my class 10, and that was something that I see a moment where I have learned the principles of commitment or discipline. And I understood what it meant by saying, God help those who help themselves. Because as a class 10 student, as a young boy, it was very difficult to adjust to the new environment. But then I knew at the time that if I give my best, God is going to provide the necessary help. And instead of giving up or instead of losing hope, I did whatever I can. And sure enough, God sent help from different people. Some of the teachers that I have had a heart for me and really helped me with the difficulties that I have, especially in subjects like Hindi. which was very difficult. In Manipur, our Hindi, even in Churachandpur, we hardly, concentrate or have, give much importance to Hindi. But in Hyderabad, the Hindi that they have was something that was beyond, very difficult, and it took me time. And I have teachers who helped me and helped me understand the subject and helped me clear the exam. And by God's grace, I cleared the class 10 exam with first division. And that is one thing that I have learned. And the third one is to do with the joy of learning, the joy of sacrifice, sorry. This is something that I learned in my class 11. My college is around 2 hours away from home, and I have to change 2-3 buses every time I go to college. And seeing the difficulties that I face, my father said, you can let us buy you a bike and help you ease your commutation to help you ease your commute to college every day. But I know that my father was the only bread earner in the family, and it was difficult for him to buy a bike because he was going to support a family of 4 siblings, and even my mother also. We were all in Hyderabad studying there. And if we buy a bike, then it will be very difficult for us to, meet ends meet. So I said what I understood at that time from there is that it is not about my own interest or my self-interest, but it is about the family, and I can contribute to the family's difficulty by, saying no to something that I don't really need, and I could go by bus, and I could sacrifice something by way of, not taking up all the resources for buying a bike for myself. And I think that was something that I learned in the joy of sacrificing. That means to contribute. For many of you, you might say that I have nothing now, or I can contribute nothing to the family. But what you can do is you can contribute by simple way of, understanding the difficult situation of your family and not demanding too much from them, and trying to share whatever the family has with one another. And the fourth one is to do with worldly ones, has to do with delayed gratification. A small example I want to share here is to do with my BSc days, where we used to have freshers meet. I'm sure KS also have freshers meets now and then. And joining the college, BSc in Bhavan's Degree College, there was a freshers meet, and we were asked to wear suit and coat and all those things to look good, which was everybody's happiness to have and to be dressed up well. But then what I've decided during that time was that I will not buy a court suit for myself, but I don't have a court suit, but my father said, I can buy a court suit for you. But what I have decided at that time was that I will not buy a court suit, or I will not let my parents get a court suit for me, but I will wait for a day when I will be able to buy one for myself. So I think to that extent, I have learned what it means to delay your wants and focus other things aside till a time when you can afford things on your own. And MSc and civil service preparation, I have also learned few things like the difference between needs and wants. One example is to do with mobile phones. I think many of us have mobile phones these days, and many of us are distracted by mobile phones. And sometimes I feel that many of us are unable to clear many of our exams and dreams or goals because we are too distracted by technology these days, which are not really helpful to our dreams and goals and ambitions. But one thing I've learned that time is that it was those early days when mobile phone came out, and and then I was away in the university, and there was a need to connect or communicate with family back home. But and they wanted to buy good phones for me. But then I said, we don't need a phone, or I don't need a phone which costs much, but I need a phone which just is good enough to communicate. And one thing I want to tell my brothers and sisters today here is, sometimes you should just evaluate what we really need. Many of us buy a 30,000 or 40,000 phone without much, without really needing all those, without really needing all those equipments. I mean, facilities that are provided in the phone. So I just wanted to bring that point up also. And the other one is, soon after my MSc, I prepared for the civil service in 2005. I went for coaching class in Hyderabad, a place called Braintree. They have good coaching classes for subjects like public administration, anthropology, and general studies. And I was privileged enough because I was in Hyderabad and I could avail those facilities immediately. And I prepared for the exam and wrote 3 attempts in 2006, 2007, and 2008. In 2008, I cleared the exam. So 2006, I cleared the prelims and I went for the mains. I could not clear the mains because I was not able to focus on one of the subjects. We have two optional subjects during those time. I was doing well in the GS and the optional, but the other optional, anthropology, I could not spend much time, so my marks were not good. So I did not clear the mains exam. The next year, I prepared again and even went to Delhi for special coaching for around 4 or 5 months. And that year, I cleared the exam and I cleared the prelims and I went to the mains. And I cleared the mains also, and I went for the interview. And that was my first interview. And I used to say to friends that was being the first interviews, I was so nervous that I could not even hear what they were asking, and could not even reply or answer to the things that they asked. And that was my first interview. But by God's grace, when the marks came out, I was quite surprised at the the marks that I got, which was quite good enough, given the fact that I didn't perform very well according to my assessment. But I was very disappointed when my name did not come up in the final list. But some of the friends that I prepared with got into services like the IS and the IPS and even the other subjects also. And it was difficult 2 months to gather, pull myself together again and then prepare for one. I would say I told myself that this will be the last and final attempt. And if I don't get it this time, then I'm going to, explore other options. And in fact, I say 3 attempts because that was our prayer, the prayer of the family when I started preparing for the exam also. And I could not keep spending or using up all the resources that the family has on my preparation, because even at that time, it was quite costly to prepare for the civil service exam. And now, I cannot imagine the kind of amount of money that we need to spend in coaching classes and other things also. So even that time it was high, and three years, and that too after my dad retired in 2005. I thought it was not wise to keep wasting our resources, but rather find something else if I don't clear in the 3rd attempt. And finally, I wrote the exam again, and then I went for my interview. And this time it went well, and I was happy and confident and could answer many of the questions. In my interview, people used to ask me, what did they ask for the interview and how long does it last? Many people have different things to say and interesting to say also, but I don't know, I barely remember much about the interview that I gave. And some of the questions that they asked also is no longer in my head. But it was just a 15 minutes interview. People will say, we talk for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and have lots of things to say, but mine lasted just for 10 or 15 minutes. And it was the last interview of the day. And I answered whatever they asked, and there were a few questions which I could not answer, and I said, I don't know. And then we went to the next question, and then we kind of wrap it up in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And going out of the interview, I was happy, but at the same time quite worried that the interview has not really gone as per my desire, or not good enough to score good marks. And yeah, I waited for the results to come out, and when the result came out, by God's grace, my name was in the middle of the rankings. And we were very confused whether I would be getting the IAS or I would be getting the IPS, or and some other services which I have opted for. My first preference was IAS, and there was enough seat for me to get IAS, but then and I was thinking one of the candidate who was above me would opt for the IFS, but she chose IAS, and the IFS option was left to me. But since I have not opted for, my preference was not IFS, so I became the ST topper in IPS, and IFS was taken by my friend who is a rank below me. He's from Arunachal. We went for the interview together. He's a good friend of mine also, and now he's happily posted in the Netherlands, The Hague, and he is right now working there. So that is something to do with my preparation and my civil service examination and preparation and interview, and finally getting into the service. And after that, coming back into I went for training, National Police Academy for 1 year and a half. We finished our basic course, and I finished my probationary period, and I started working in in Manipur in 2011. And as Brother Thangolin has already mentioned, my previous postings, I was posted in different places. And early on, I faced challenges in life, challenges as in terms of, a young officer having all the, status and position that is respected by the society. And then at one point, I started to think that I'm a self-made man, and started to think that IPS who I am now, and that started creeping in, and there was this kind of desire to do well as try to fit in in order to do well in the service. But in the process, I have lost my humility before God, and with pride came all those arrogance, and with pride came all those temptations along the way. And I also had a difficult 2 years personally in terms of my personal work with God, and I kind of sidetracked, and then I had to be brought back by God through different incidents in life, which I will not go too deep because we don't have much time. And by God's grace, for the last 5 years now, I have been doing my best to have my humble walk with God in whatever I do, and to be able to live out my Christian values and principles in my own humble way, in my workplace, and in whatever I do. And it has been a blessing. It may not be big for others, but to me, I think it matters a lot, and it has helped me grow as a person and as a Christian also. And today I say, Lord, I am available. This is the profession that you give me. I will do my best here in whatever way I can. And if you want me to do something for your glory also, give me the opportunity. And I know here I am, I'm available. So that is where I stand today. And this is a little bit about my story. In the beginning, I kind of got a little bit, mixed up. Please forgive me for that. But so that is a little bit of my story. And if there's anything that we can learn, I'm happy. And if you want to ask me anything else also, I'm always available. You can contact me anytime, anywhere, and we can meet up when the situation is better also. Yeah, now coming to my thoughts, random thoughts that I want to share with all of you today. And I'll go point by point, and these are a few points, and I will not waste much time. So let me start. First thing, remember your creator is something that I want to share with you. And when I say remember a creator, what comes to my mind is a creator and the created being. If there is a creator, then there is creation. And we are created beings. And if we are created beings, there is somebody who created us. And if there is somebody who created us, then the creator must have created us for a purpose. And if he has created us for a purpose, then it is our duty to seek what that purpose is for us. Rather than seek our own purpose, it is important that we seek the purpose that has been set for us by the Creator, because if we believe that there is a Creator and we are a created being. If we don't believe that, then I can't say much. So that is something that I want to raise with all of you. And then it is important, like I said, to know who we are or why we are or what our purpose is. Unless we are clear of that, it will be very difficult to go ahead in life and do what we are supposed to do. I also had difficulty because I was not sure of who I was. I thought of many things about who I was, and I was very confused. But when I realized that I am a created being, created by God for a purpose, and when I found my purpose in Him, especially in the last 5 years, my life became so much easier and so much more meaningful and fruitful. Looking back, I'm happy that I have found the purpose that God has for me. And from my own experience also as a Christian, I would say that lukewarm Christianity is the most miserable place to be for a Christian. You are neither hot nor cold. Be hot or be cold. If you are in between, then it is the most miserable place that we can be in. So today, I'm not saying that I'm strong and I'm good and I'm the best, but at least I have decided that I should either be cold or hot. And today I said I will be not in between. So I think my dear brothers and sisters, I think it's up to us to think and to decide when we talk about finding our purpose in life and remembering who created us. The world is saying, be yourself. And that is the motto of many of us, many students in life. I mean, many students that I met also. And it is quite convenient also, and be the best you can be. But then when we look at our Christian principles, God is saying, be holy as I am. So here we are given a reference point. The reference point is God. In the case of be yourself, you are the one who decides everything. And the fact that we are so unsure of ourselves makes me scared sometimes, that we can just go anyway and we can just get lost. So that is something I just want to share with point number one. And point number two, this is a little bit to do with time management. I'll be touching here and there. It will be sometime this, it will be sometime that. So please bear with me. And this is to do with time management. Since we all are students, I would say we need to be very judicious and with our mental and physical energy. We should not waste our energy. And when I say time management, I have three things in mind, which I tell others also, and which I try to practice in life also. There are three things. One is the operational aspect of time management, and the other one is the strategic aspect, and the third one is the developmental aspect. So let's say in a day you have 24 hours, and you give and take, you sleep for around 10 hours, then you have around 14 hours day, time to yourself to do something productive. So the first part, let's say make it simple, let's say 10 hours a day. So the first 8 hours or 8 hours a day, as students, we should use that 8 hours to get the job, the daily job or the daily task that we need to complete. And that is the operational part of our time utilization. The second part would be the strategic part, where you can spend around 1 hour, let's say. Out of 10 hours, 8 is already taken. 1 hour, you can spend it to prepare for the future. So today you want to be a civil servant, or you want to be a MBA, or you want to be an engineer, or you want to be a doctor, whatever you may be. So you are not yet those things that you want to be, but you can surely plan and start preparing and kind of arrange whatever you are doing daily to reach those goals ultimately. So that is the strategic part. So spend some time. Let's say if you want to be a civil servant, then you start spending 1 hour a day to read something related to civil services preparation, apart from your subject that you read every day. I don't suggest that you forget your subject and go into something that is going to be helpful in the future. We have to be there in the present. We have to do well in the present. And only when you do well in the present, then the future will be brighter. So that is the strategic part. And the remaining 1 hour is to do with the developmental aspect. And I think when I talk about the developmental aspect of time management, it has to do with you growing and developing and improving yourself, becoming a better person, or becoming the better you. And, or in a way, pursuing your interest, or for our better understanding, our hobbies, or something that we like, so that we improve as a person also. So this is 3 aspects of daily time management that I want us to consider. First part, operational. Daily task has to be done. You cannot ignore that. Give majority of your time, be productive, be fruitful, and be able to achieve certain things in your day-to-day life. And then the strategic part, think ahead, plan ahead, and slowly start doing and moving towards that goal that you are aiming to reach, or the destination that you are aiming to reach. And in the process, improve yourself. We cannot remain in one place. We need to be better all the time in order to meet the challenges that comes our way. So that is, to me, a good way of managing time daily. Third one is to do with leadership. And when I talk about leadership, I just want to bring in 3 or 5 leadership levels which I have come across reading or going through something that a best-selling author has said, and I kind of really like that, and I've been sharing it with others also. So I want to share it with all of you today. The first thing is there are 5 levels of leadership. First level is highly capable individual. You will be, as an individual, capable of many things. You have many talents and many gifts, and you can use them for your own good. And you can be a good leader that way also, by being an expert, or by being good in something that others are not good at. That is the first level of leadership. Second one is a contributing team member. Now you are already a competent individual with different skills and talents. And now the second one is you are able to contribute what you have, what you know, what you are good at to the team. And now you are a contributing team member. That is the second level of leadership. And the third level of leadership is competent managers. So now you are a capable individual who is able to contribute to a team and is a contributing team member. And now the third one is you are a competent manager. That means you are able to organize your team, get them together, and then take them towards something that is required to be achieved, or let's say an organizational objective. So you are able to manage and organize things. That is the third level of leadership. And the fourth level of leadership is effective leaders. So these effective leaders are highly capable individuals. They are contributing team members, or they're team workers, and then they are competent managers also. And they are now able to lead the organization. They are now able to set the objective of the organization, and they are able to take their team in a particular direction to achieve certain things for the organization. Now, coming to the fifth one is, these are called great leaders. Who are these great leaders? Great leaders are they are very simple people. They are not what we expect in a leader. And what the author here is saying is, these are just simple people who are highly capable individuals, no doubt. They have certain talents and things. They are team leaders. They can work with the team. They are competent managers. They are good leaders who can take their team in a particular direction. But something that sets these great leaders are their strong will, or they have fierce resolve That means they want to achieve something, not for their selfish interest, but for the organizational good or for the good of the people that they are working for. They have a strong will, plus a strong will combined with personal humility. They are the most humble people. They are not proud, and they will not take credit for what is being done well by them or by their team. And for me, when I think of this kind of leaders, few examples come to my mind, and the first one is Mother Teresa. And Mother Teresa is such a strong, good example of somebody who resolved to serve the lepers. And he has gone through much, but she did not give up. She gave everything that she has, regardless of all the discouragement that she has to face, doing something that nobody wants to do. Without fierce resolve, it could not have been possible. And at the same time, that was combined with humility. And it was her humility that draws people to her and the team to her, and they were able to achieve so many things for the lepers all over the world. Another example is Mahatma Gandhi. He led the country to independence through non-violence and through those attributes that I have just mentioned: strong resolve and personal humility. And I just want to bring another example, and to me that's the best example. That is, Mother Teresa and Gandhi also have seen him as their role model. And who is that one? They have mentioned it time and again. That is Jesus Christ. In Jesus Christ, you see the perfect example of strong resolve. That means he came for a purpose. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he said, "Not my will, but your will be done." And he went through with it. And then you see humility in Christ. And that is something that Gandhi and Mother Teresa has also learned from Christ. And we have Christ in our lives. And how can we not be good leaders? Maybe we have to reintrospect whether we are really following Christ or not. So that is the leader aspect of what I want to say. I hope I have some more time, a few more things to say. How much more time do I have?
Yeah, you can go ahead, Umar.
Okay, right. So the fourth one is to do with work ethic. So let me touch something about work ethic and what I have learned. To me, like I said, I'm a created being, created by God. So I look back to God when it comes to my purpose in life, and my purpose in life has to do with doing something. Doing something means to work. So the creator that I worship is a worker. He works. He works. We can see his work in creation. He's not somebody who just sit there, do nothing. He is somebody who works in creation. He is somebody who provides. He is somebody who sustains and controls everything around us. He is somebody who judges us. He is somebody who redeems us or provides for the sick, the needy, and the sinners everywhere in this world. So our God is not somebody who just sit idly and do nothing. And if you are created by him, and if we are saying that we are created in his image, we better do something. But not on our own, but what he wants us to do. So that to me would be work ethic. The basis of my work ethic. And another point I want to raise is, usually we think that work is a curse, because we say that in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve sinned and they were thrown out and they were made to work. No. If you really look back, work in fact is God's appointed function of human life. In the Garden of Eden, Adam subdued animal and plant kingdom, tended and cared the Garden of Eden. So they were working there also. There was work in the Garden of Eden. They were not just sitting and sleeping and eating all the time. They were working. They were doing what God has asked them to do. But it was only after the fall that the nature of work have changed and the work became more difficult and they have to sweat and toil. It was not the kind of work that was done in the Garden of Eden. So I just wanted to give us a perspective, something that my perspective of work ethics when it comes to, carrying out my daily task and understanding what work is to me. So work should be marked by a sense of dignity. That means we have to be accountable to God's command and to be able to live out the image of God in us. And then the second one is it should be marked by a sense of charity. That means we should love our neighbors and do what is good for others. So that is work ethic in short. The fifth one is to do with excellence. Please excuse me. Excellence, when I talk about excellence, I just want to bring a few points. First thing is pursue your interest. As students, as graduates, we have to pursue our interests, and we have to excel in whatever we chose, in whatever we do. And I have come across, a definition or a research finding of what a prodigy means, or somebody who is good in what he does. When we talk about prodigy, according to this research finding, he said that a prodigy is not nobody special, but it is somebody who has picked up an interest, and he is working on this interest or skills 3 hours a day for 20 hours a week. That means if you do something for 3 hours a day, we're talking about time management and all those things, so you can relate to that somehow. If you are doing something that you are interested for 3 hours a day out of the 24 hours, and you are doing this every day, that means 3 into 7 will be 21 hours, and 21 hours weekly into a month and into a year would be around 1,000 hours a year. And this 1,000 hours a year into 10 years. If you do something for 3 hours a day for 10 years, that will come to around 10,000 hours. And if you do something for 10,000 hours, then it says you are sure to be a prodigy in that particular thing that you are, or interest that you are pursuing. I believe that. And many of our students, we are still young in age. Many of us are in our early 20s. So if we picked up an interest, or if you are trying to be good in something, if we spend just 3 hours a day and we are consistent with that, then by the time we are 33 years, I have crossed 33 years long time back, but if you are going to do this thing, then by the time you are 33 years, you would be so good in that particular area that you will be the best in the field, even internationally also. So that is something I tell young students whenever I meet them, not to waste their time, but to focus and to pick up an interest and to be consistent in it and do well. And then over a period of time, they will become the best in that field. So the secret to this becoming the best, or the secret to excelling or becoming a prodigy is 3 things. First one, practice. Second one, practice. Third one, practice. Practice, practice, practice. And I just want to quote, excellence does not come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. And another quote, I am going to do today what other people are not willing to do, so that I can do tomorrow what other people cannot. I am going to do today what others are not willing to do, so that tomorrow I will be able to do something that they cannot do. So today it may be a struggle, but tomorrow you will be the best in that field and people will look up to you. You may struggle and set years trying to be good in that thing or trying to achieve certain things, but when you do achieve, people will look up to you. People will ask you for help. The 6th one, I want to talk about greed. When we talk about greed, the quote that comes to my mind is from Gandhi. It says, there is sufficient in the world for man's need, but not for man's greed. There is enough in this world for our needs, for everybody's need, but not for our greed. When we are greedy, we want what other people have also. And that's when strife and conflict starts. We covet. That's what the Bible also says. When we start coveting, then we are never happy. We are greedy, and it brings sorrows or pain in our life in some way or the other. And another one is, it says, to be successful, take. To be successful, take. To be happy, give. To be successful, take. To be happy, give. And give as much as you can. Third, the 7th point, to do with unity. Where there is destruction, I will give a quote of Ravi Zacharias. I really like this, and I'm also still trying to learn from this code and do whatever I can when it comes to, working together with other people. Unity, the quote says, where destruction is the motive, unity is dangerous. Where goodness is the motive, unity is phenomenal. So the motive should be right. If the motive is to do with destruction, unity in such kind of situation is a very dangerous unity. But when the motive is for good, then such kind of unity will bring phenomenal results. Coming to the eighth point, I just want to say, this 8th point is to do with mentoring. Find a mentor and find a mentee. When I say find a mentor, find somebody who is good in something that you are not good at. We were talking about your interest or something that you want to be over a period of time. So today you may not be able to do it on your own. So go out there, reach out to somebody who has already achieved that thing that you wanted to achieve. Reach out to him, seek his help or her help, be teachable, listen to him and let him be your guide, let him be your mentor. You have to put an effort to find such kind of mentor. It may not always come to you. You have to reach out also sometime. If you're fortunate enough, it will come to you also. So that is something that I used to tell the students also. Even in the college also, there are different levels of students in terms of seniority. So a first-year student can reach out to a second-year student or a third-year student and learn from that second-year student something that would take her or him to learn for 1 year. He can learn that basic concept within 10 minutes. Why wait for 1 year when you can learn that concept from a senior or a mentor in just 5-10 minutes? Do that. Study groups can be formed. And the other part is, now you have found a mentor, you're learning so much from that person. You also have a mentee. Let's say you are a second-year student. Find a mentee, somebody you can teach, or somebody who is approaching you for help, or somebody you know is needing your help. So let him or her be a mentee, and whatever you learn from the mentor, pass it on to that young mentee. It may not always be education. It can be emotional support, it can be spiritual support, or it can be any other form of support that this young mentee requires. So find a mentor and have a mentee also, so that you will have a balanced and wholesome growth. Coming to the next point is prayer. And many people, I think, is very confused about prayer. We think that prayer is to go to God and ask whatever you want, and then God should give you, and that's the end of prayer. But here I want to say, prayer is not asking what you want, but asking what God wants. It's about listening to God and asking for His purpose in your life. And to me, that is something that I have learned, and it may not come easy for everybody, but if you found, when you find that kind of answer, or when you have that kind of experience, I think it will really transform your life for good. Another one is, our cry to God to hear us must be accompanied by our promise to obey His statutes. Well, let me not elaborate too much. I think we don't have much time. And another thing that young people keep asking me is, what is God's will? Let me go a little bit into the spiritual part. I'll just take a minute. I said God's will is to do with, in simple words, to do with 5 S. The first S, what is God's will for my life? The first S is to be saved. Saved by grace. That is what God wants for you in life. Saved by grace, the first S. The second is spirit-filled regularly. What God wills is that you are saved by grace, and when you are saved by grace, you are filled with His Spirit every day. Are you filled with His Spirit every day? If yes, good. If not, then you are likely not in God's will. The third S is sanctification, or sanctified by the Word of God. That means through the reading of the Word of God. You are saved by grace, and now you are Spirit-filled, and you have that Christ consciousness in you. And now when you have that consciousness in you, you desire to know more about God. And now you're reading the word of God. And when you read the word of God, you are sanctified by the word of God. You work towards holiness. And then the fourth S is submission to God, submissive to God. Once you have God in your life, you want to obey him now. You want to follow him now. You know that his will is for you to follow him. So in that process, you become submissive to him. So that is the fourth S. That means submissive to God or walking in obedience to God. And that is God's will for your life. And the fifth S is saying thanks. That means in all circumstances, whether good or bad, you should be able to say, thank you, Lord, or able to rejoice in whatever you're going through. It may be difficult times, but you should be able to find joy in God, saying that there is hope, there is answers in God in any circumstances or situation that you are in. So this is the 5S when you talk about God's will. And this is something that I want us as students to keep thinking about when we talk about. It's not about, God's will is not about us. That's why it's called God's will. It is about God. God's will cannot be your will. When you try to make your will God's will, then the problem starts. So seek God's will the way it is meant to be. And the next point is financial education. This is something that I always want to share with the young students also. When it comes to finances, we are very careless at times in how we, deal with our finances. I'm not saying that you have started earning money and you are not able to use your money properly. I'm saying that even the little that you have as your pocket money, how you use it is very important. And whatever you learn with those little today that is given to you, if you are good with it, if you are faithful with that one, it will help you in a great way when you when you grow or when you earn something on your own also. So when I talk about financial education, I want to bring 2 points. One is assets and liabilities. I have read this from a book called book by Robert Kiyosaki. And I was 18 years old when I read this one, and it has influenced my thoughts when it comes to finances for the last almost 15 years now, more than 15 years now. So assets and liability, he says that you build assets and reduce your liabilities. Assets are something that grows. Assets are something that adds to your wealth. But liabilities are something that takes away from what you have. For example, to give you a simple example is if you are buying land, the land prices will continue to grow, and in the long run, this become your assets. But if you are somebody who is interested in buying cars and big vehicles, good vehicles, I have to warn you that these things are liabilities. Why? Because you are already, if you don't have enough money, you have to take loan, and you have to pay back the loan monthly basis, and you're already losing so much money from your monthly income. The second one is you have to buy petrol for the vehicle, and you have to spend so much on petrol every month. And then the vehicle also will need repairing now and then. You have to keep repairing the vehicle, and you are buying an SUV when you are okay with a two-wheeler. Just because somebody wants or the society thinks that you need to buy a SUV, you buy it because even when you don't need it. To me, it's, I wouldn't say foolishness, but it is not necessary. And that is how I live my life also. I have been with my Alto car for the last 10 years, though I can afford other vehicles also. And recently, just few months back, I bought a bigger vehicle because we need a bigger vehicle for the family now. So that is something that I do on my own. I'm not saying something that I have not done. I'm just sharing with you. And if it is something that you like to consider, you do it. So build your assets, cut down or minimize your liabilities. Let the asset grow, let the liabilities go down. Or let's say, in other words, incomes and expenditure. Let your income grow. Don't use beyond your income. If you're earning 100 rupees, use, okay, let me say this way. You are okay with 10 rupees today. and you are able to live your life with 10 rupees today, and tomorrow you are earning 100 rupees. Don't try to jump to the 100 rupees lifestyle. Stick to your 10 rupees lifestyle and try to save that 90 rupees. The problem with us is that when we have more, we spend more. And that is what I see in our society also. So when you earn more, don't spend more, but try to save more. Now, coming to the next point, I am almost done now. This is to do with civil service exam and some study techniques. So what I want to say here when it comes to civil service is, from my own experience, the civil service preparation is something that is going to deal with your character. It is a character building process. That's how I see it. And that's how I take it as a challenge. It's not about just reading the books or the subjects that is to be read or preparing for the exam. I see it as a process of building my character. And that is where I find the challenge more interesting, apart from my own preparation for the subject. And when difficult times come, or when disappointment or some sort of depression comes also, I see that this is a process of character building. So that is how I motivated myself again. It is going to test your character. It is going to chisel you. It is going to take out the the bad parts of you, so that you become a better person and you are shaped into somebody who is going to be a good civil servant in the future. If you're not willing to change, or if you're not willing to let go of the negative aspect of your characters, then it will be very hard for you to be a good civil servant also. And what I've learned is attitudes over abilities. Many times we think about abilities are so important, but from my own experience, I have seen people who are more brilliant, who are more educated, who are more capable than me, who have not cleared the exam. They are sharper, they're more brilliant, they know more, they can say more, and I sometimes get scared when I'm with them also. But these people, some of them do get through, but there are some of them who could not clear the exam. I'm not saying that they are bad. Maybe they are cut out for some other things also. Maybe they are not cut out for civil service. But what I'm trying to say here is, sometimes your attitude, in fact, your attitude is more important than your abilities. Never giving up attitude, or willing to change, or willing to improve, willing to learn from your mistake, and not being arrogant, trying to reflect on what you have done wrong. I have appeared for the exam 3 times, and I wanted to give up in the second attempt when I could not clear the exam. Clear the interview. It was a very disappointing moment. But then I took time, a month, to gather myself again and say, oh, where have I gone wrong? It was a difficult time, but I have to do it in order to succeed. I cannot stop there. So that is what I'm saying. Learning from your mistake, reflecting, and it's all about the attitude and trying to do well in your next attempt. And that is how I succeeded in my next attempt. Every day you're going to fight self. Sometimes it will be you will be overconfident. Sometimes you will be low in confidence. You will be full of self-pity also. And there will be fluctuating emotions every day. But what is important, like I said, is for you to motivate yourself positively and have a balanced emotion as much as you can. And for me, what helps me is my time with God and my prayer with God over those 3 years when I prepared for the exam. And another thing that I want to say is study techniques. Many of us, we just study for the sake of studying. We just say, somebody say it is important, so we just go and rush and read without really planning it out. There are certain study techniques which I want to mention, which I have done, followed during those times. I will not go through and go into details. We don't have much time. The 2 things. One is the 3 R's. 3 R means R, the alphabet R. First R is reading. Reading or looking at chart, maps, or website, etc. The second R is recording or taking notes to remember what you have read. The third one is reviewing or going through your notes so you will remember the information that you have learned. So 3 R's: reading, recording, that means taking notes, and then reviewing, that means revising again. If you can do this on a regular basis, then you'll be confident with your notes and you'll be able to write whatever question comes your way, even if they ask any way they want also. So that is how you prepare for your for the exam, or how to write notes, or how to make notes, or any other thing. The other one is SQR3 or SQ3R. SQ3R, that means 3 alphabet R's. First one is S, that is to do with survey. When you go through a book, first thing is you don't go directly and start reading seriously. Just skim through, or go through it as a survey. See the table of content, what is there in the table of content, and just go turn the pages until the end, see the topics, the subtopics, and all those things. Then that's how you survey and know what is inside the book. And after you do, this surveying has to do with what do I know, what do I want to know. Those questions have to be asked. And the second one is Q, that is to do with questions. Prepare and ask questions. After going through the survey, you will be able to form some questions in your head, which you are interested to know. So once you have this question, third one is the 3 R's. The first R is read actively. Reading actively is to search for answers to those questions you have raised or prepared. The second R is to recite, that is to recall what you have read. And the third R is to review, summarize, and organize whatever information that you have collected. So this is another way of going through books and making it simpler for you and making your time more productive when you are reading a book. Yes, and I think that should be more or less my talk. And lastly, I just want to talk about myself. And for many of us who wants to become officers, or who wants to be, Christian officers in life. And from my own examples, 1 or 2 lines, which says, I have already said something before also, but what I want to say now, today, is that students used to ask me, what do you mean by being a Christian police officer or being a Christian officer? And my answer is, being a Christian officer is to be a disciple of the Lord Jesus Christ, impacting the society and the nation wherever you are called to serve. So that to me is being a Christian officer. And the questions that I ask is, who are you following? Who are you emulating? Who are you glorifying? If you are only for yourself, then you can cancel the Christian out of that officer. You'll be just an officer. You'll be an officer for yourself, and you can enjoy life also. But when you say Christian officer, then it is somebody else who is leading you. Somebody else you are following. Somebody else you are emulating. And somebody else who is setting the moral standards for you. If you're not willing to have God or Christ set the moral standard for you, don't call yourself a Christian officer. So that is something that I would like to say when it comes to my own simple experiences in life. And I just want to end by saying this, reading these few quotes. Let me short quote. Give me a minute. Before you speak, listen. Before you write, think. Before you spend, earn. Before you pray, forgive. Before you hurt somebody, feel first, empathize first. Before you hate, love. Before you quit, try. Never quit. Before you die, live. Live to your fullest potential. And in my case, and as a Christian, live to your fullest potential for the glory of God. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful speech, for being Pungkat Val holding important. It was very insightful and very helpful, I hope, for all of us. Tumpat, we are not nang tumpat an episode of nang. It's a cartoon. Question. There are already questions in chat box and even in YouTube. Adong nong ito pong now tiho simlay ho tam taomin. Ipam mamazingin resource person pan ama life experiences hodong insane to give you in civil service preparation didan even life after into service. Tam ta cover in body within resource person pasunga. Abiel belin di patu bongvin. Azwa kasi bangchun question dong tihon. Please mention your name, your qualifications or educational background, and from where now na to kung now to in dong halo nang YouTube azong question YouTube lang abihon dong you can always post in the comment section if you have any queries. Sir, shall we take questions from now on or? Umon, question nila pandiutam.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Aile Zoom chat ahin in kating. Katna hin. How did you motivate yourself every day during your preparation year? Iti kata hin. Tutle ako isang katna to hin. Next to him related is in. Sir, how do you manage to concentrate on your studies through your 3 years of preparation? Then he combined the ability. How do you motivate yourself? How do you concentrate during this 3 years of preparation?
Can you repeat the second part of the question? I didn't get it.
Okay. How do you manage to concentrate on your studies through your 3 years of preparation?
I'll try to make it as simple as possible. And in fact, these are simple things that we need to do. It is not, rocket science. What I can say is, how do I motivate myself? First thing is, I concentrate on my spiritual life. Every weekend is time with God, go to church, spend time, and just be there in the church and listen to what the pastor has to say and try to learn something from it. And, refresh yourself and surrender your life to God every week. That is the first thing that I do. And those are special moments for me in giving me new strength for the next week. And then the second part is discipline. For example, I set certain timetable which I need to follow. I break up my syllabus into bits and pieces, what I need to do every day, what I need to do complete by within a week, or within a month, within a year. So according to that, I have my timetable in front of me. And then I try to stick to those things routine every day. Even when I'm happy or when I'm sad, it doesn't matter. I have to do what I have to do. And another one is you have to sleep well so that you have enough rest every day and your mind is fresh to take in more information. And another one is exercise. Take time to exercise. Do some physical activity for 30 minutes every day. For me, since I don't have much time to go out, or the place where I studied was not very, they don't have a proper park or place to work. I used to go for lunch to one hotel, and it is around half a kilometer. So every day walking up and down to my hotel and eating food was good exercise for me. And I took that period to physically stretch myself as well as take time to think of the things that are in my head and clear my head, during those short walks that I take. So this happens every morning and every evening. And to me, that was enough exercise. And I get to see outside, and interact with people when I go out also. So that is one thing. Otherwise, the rest of the time, I'm in my room and study. Or eating good food, right? That is also very important to me. That is very, very simple, but if you don't eat good food, you will not be healthy. If you're not healthy, you will have health issues. If you have health issues, you will not be able to concentrate. If you're not able to concentrate, you will not enjoy your study. If you don't enjoy your study, then you will not gain anything from the study. So it is very simple. Sleep well, exercise, eat good food. Don't drink, drink lots of water. I do that also. And I keep a bottle next to me and I keep sipping water every now and then so that my brain is fresh. And it is something that I suggest to others also, to drink some water every now and then. It is very helpful for your body also. If your body is dehydrated, your body becomes tired, your mind also becomes tired, and you find it very hard to concentrate. And then don't think about, focus on what you know, and don't spend too much time in the things that you don't know. Read something. If you know, take those things. If you don't know something, then move ahead, move to the next one. But and in due course, as you move along, you might be able to slowly understand what you are not able to understand today also. Because usually when you read a book, it is about, in order to understand a concept, you have to read at least 10 to 15 pages sometimes. So if you are stuck at page number 1 and you're saying, I cannot understand, and if you are disappointed and you don't go ahead anymore, then the remaining 14 pages, which will tell you what it is, you are just, wasting your time there in page 1. So move ahead to page 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and go to 15 also. And by the time you reach 15, I'm sure you will be learning something and you will be able to say, you are able to understand the concept better. So focus on what you know and move on, and try to learn more along the process, along the way. Don't stay in one place. And so I think that is something that keeps me motivating. And I read self-help books, motivating books. I have my few books next to me. For example, books like The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale is something that really helped me. And I keep reading one or two, couplets from that book every now and then. And I'm motivated, and it helped me become a better person. And it gives me good ideas of how to present myself even at the interview also. So it kind of slowly changed my mindset and helped me become somebody, or become a better person. So, and those positive books that I have read, or positive thinking books that I have read, or self-help books that I have read, helped me in my interview, unknowingly, or I would say unintentionally. So yeah, I do that, and many other things, but these are few basic things that we need to do.
Okay, so thank you so much. Sir, I think it would be good if you can give us some of these motivational books that you have read, so that we can pass it on to the students, and that I think that would be very helpful.
Sure.
Next question, I'll go to the next question. From Mangboy Misao, is clearing a civil service exam much harder for science background as compared to other streams like arts background? Science to arts background, nah.
I am from a science background, and I have cleared the exam, so I don't think it's difficult that way. It doesn't really matter whether you are from science or arts background. It's about how you spend time in those few years that you have prepared for the exam. Be serious from day one, and collect your materials, stick to your materials. Don't jump here and there, and don't listen to everyone or everything that people say. And try to follow, like I said, a proper timetable and stick to it. At least, if you are from science background, I have, to be frank, I did not take science subject as my optional because I find it very hard. And in fact, I did not do my PhD in science anymore because I had enough of, science subject at that point in my life. So I wanted to move to something else, and civil service was a good break for me, and I could go into subjects that I have always wanted to study, that is anthropology. And then I was able to do I am able to take public administration because I have been reading self-help books or management books right from my teenage days. So I don't have that opportunity to do it in the science subjects. So with these two subjects, I'm able to bring in those interests that I have. But at the same time, being from the science background, it helped me understand many difficult concepts in science which are so important in clearing this traditional general studies paper. And I would say science background is good for you to, very helpful for you to clear the exam, because it will help you understand difficult concepts. Whether you take science as an optional, it's up to you. But for me, though I'm from science background, I took arts and I enjoy the subject. Bottom line is you have to enjoy the subject that you are taking. You don't take it because you have to take it. Look into the syllabus, go through the notification and see whether, see the proper syllabus and find out whether this syllabus or these topics are something that you would be willing to read for the next 3 years.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. We'll go to the next question. Next one is very interesting, and I think this many of the students face this issue after their graduation. The question is from Helena. Sir, my question is, tell us the benefit of doing master degree and not doing master degree for UPSC exam preparation. I think she's talking about whether to go for masters or to prepare civil service right after bachelor's degree.
Well, if you ask me, I finished my master's and I feel that my master's degree or my master's education or exposure have given me more confidence when I prepare for the civil service exam. So I would always suggest, if you can, then do your master's also and prepare for the exam. And it is also a good backup plan, I would say. There is no guarantee that everybody who writes the civil service will clear the exam. And for me, I had my master's MSc degree, and and it was like a backup plan for me in case I don't clear the civil service exam in the 3 attempts that I aimed for. Then I would be going into something else which would be helpful to me, and I can use this master degree for those other avenues that I want to explore. So I would suggest masters is good, but it is not mandatory. There are people who have cleared their civil service exam right after their degree days, and it is also fine. If you're really serious about civil service and if you are confident that you are going to give your best and clear the exam, you can start after your degree. But if you're somebody who is undecisive and not knowing whether you're really interested in civil service or you're trying to understand civil service and other things like that, and you have not prepared right from your degree days or higher secondary days, then I would suggest that you go for masters and take a subject which can be your optional in UPSC, and it will help you get a degree as well as help you in preparing for your optional subjects for the UPSC exam.
Okay. I think that's clear enough. Here is another very interesting question, which most of us actually from socio-economic background are facing actually. This is from Kai Hugin Haukip from Surutanpur. His question is, sir, unlike your conditions where you could afford coaching classes, there are many aspirants who cannot afford the same. Do you think an aspirant can crack this exam by completely depending on online guidance or guidance by experts on YouTube without coaching? What do you say, sir?
Very much aware of what is available in the internet these days, but I have heard and I have interacted with some of the students that there are lots of information available in the internet now these days, and it is not really necessary for serious aspirants to join coaching classes also. But there are some people who still believe that it is good to join coaching classes for whatever reasons they have. But in Churchanpur, I have some young students who I interact with now and then. They don't have proper coaching class or they don't attend proper coaching class, but they are also preparing by interacting with people who are attending coaching class in Delhi and taking material from them or help from them and are preparing in Churchanpur on their own. So if you cannot afford or if it is difficult, then there is always some other means of preparing for the exam. And I used to say to other people, coaching class is just 30%. The remaining 70% is your effort. Coaching class does not guarantee you civil service success. It can only assist you, but ultimately you are the one who is going to use those materials. And if you can have those materials without joining coaching class physically, then I think it is good enough. It's about you reading those materials, disciplining yourself, and completing everything that is to be done in time, and be ready for the exam. Sometimes we say coaching class because it kind of give us that motivation or that group feeling where everybody is doing it together and you are motivated. Otherwise, It's not really necessary.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll go ahead because there's so many questions now. We'll go one by one. There's another one which I was expecting to come up, even I was also supposed to ask. This is from Tongbem Haukip. She asked, what do you consider is the best thing or vantage point about being a bureaucrat? Is there any class or internal negotiation between your job and your religious belief?
There is no. I didn't get the first part of the question. Can you just repeat that?
The first question is, what do you consider is the best thing about being in a bureaucrat?
Okay. The best thing that I can see from my short experience of 10 years is that you are able to serve the society in a much, larger way, where you can make an impact in a much bigger way than most people would have it. And I think that is something that I see, and it's a huge responsibility given to you. And if you have the right motive, you can give so much back to the society. That is something that I like about being a bureaucrat. And the second part about religion and your job, as a Christian, as I have already explained, it's about me. It's not about me being an IPS officer. It's about me being a Christian police officer. And it's about me bringing my profession before God and asking Him to use it for His glory. So when I do that, then it becomes natural. I mean, it's become very easy for me to take my profession and use it. And Bible also say, our religion as a Christian talks about service to mankind. So I think there is no conflict between when you are seriously following your religion or being a Christian, you are even more appreciated. And there's so much more you can do with those values that you gain from your faith. So there will be no conflict. In fact, you will be able to serve society better and give more to the society also. The problem is when you think that you are your own person, or when pride comes in, and if you are selfish, and if you think only about yourself, then the challenges comes, and you tend to sometimes have conflict with your own inner self and what your responsibilities towards others. Otherwise, religion and your profession, to me, it does not conflict. It has to be, you have to submit before God and God will use you. If you don't submit, then He cannot use you.
Okay, so I think, yeah, that's very powerful how you balance your faith and your service in the uniform. I think that will help and encourage many the civil service aspirants to be God-fearing, to be uncorrupt, to be honest. We'll go to the next one. This is from P. Daniel Haukip. He says, sir, which one is more advantage to take coaching for civil service after BA, graduate, and after finishing MA? I think this has been addressed, coaching and BA and MA questions. So I will go to the next one. Daniel, I hope sir has answered this question in the previous queries. I'll go to the next one. This is from Lamdo Lin Kipken. Sir, donom tampium zongle khat se hindong nge UPSC clear dihi ka aim ahi wangin ka kison lal na tampium GA aji chu Manipur education system hi UPSC clear nadia thingzo lo ham aji chu UPSC clear zo si gampama coaching langen ahi win or gampama leka singen ahi ve hichi hi ka betle gampama leka sinzo lo for their exam clear dihi hasam. I think this is very interesting.
Yeah, I will go back to what I have said before. So find a mentor. I don't know whether it's really connected to it, but I think that is quite valid. For somebody like him, if he feels that he is not confident, then he can reach out, and there will be somebody who can guide him And he can contact me also if he wants to. I'm always available, though I may not be very helpful with the latest updates in the civil service examination, but he can contact me also. And find a mentor who can help you, maybe a friend who is already preparing for the civil service exam and have some idea of the subject, of the exam, or somebody who has already cleared the exam and is willing to help that student, or maybe a teacher who is good in a particular subject, and 2-3 teachers can be approached and they can help him that way also. So find a good mentor. And if you get a good mentor, they will be able to motivate you and encourage you and let you have that confidence that you need for preparing for the exam seriously also. And be in touch with people who, I'm sure they are friends who have gone to Delhi or who have gone to different places, who he will know or who she will know. Get in touch with them also and be connected. We have this Zoom now these days. It's so easy to connect one another also. We have WhatsApp calls and many other things. So every day, if you spend time with somebody from Delhi, you can learn so much. So there's always a way out. There's always a solution. You should think of the problem, but we should not remain in the problem or just stick to the problem, but try to find solutions to our problems.
Okay. I think that's the right direction that Lamgo Lin. I think that's very powerful suggestion we should take into consideration. The next one from Gomang Elmun is from graduate GU, the university. So what was or what has been your greatest challenge in your life, and how do you deal with it? Yeah, I think this is very general, but maybe you can link up with your civil service or your service. Yeah, it's up to you.
The greatest challenge in my life is to be a humble person. To be humble, or to practice humility is something that I find it very difficult in my relationship with others and in my relationship with God also, because sometimes I'm very selfish. Sometimes I think only for myself, and many times I want to do what I want to do. So in order to have a good relationship with God and with your fellow men, you have to be humble. You have to be teachable. You have to be accepting. You have to be, patient, kind, all those things. But it starts with humility. So I think that is something that I struggle with even now.
Okay, that's a good answer, sir. The next one is, I think all of you would love the next question. All the participants. This is from Tingneo, MA Impal. Thank you, PG sir. It was wonderful and inspirational listening to you. If I may, I was just wondering as to what is your take on being in a relationship during student life or while pursuing one's goal. Secondly, can you share your motto in life? The first one is, what is your take on being in a relationship, quote unquote? And the second one is your motto in life.
Be in the right relationships. And when I say in the right relationship, have a good relationship with your mentor. That kind of relationship is something that I will encourage. And that is the kind of relationship that will help you grow also. And I think I don't advise people to be in any other relationship that would distract them from their goals. It's very difficult to have two masters, they say. The Bible also says. So you can only serve one master at one time. So if you are preparing for a civil service exam, you stick to civil service and don't get carried away by other things. And there will be a time will come when other relationships also can be taken up. But don't be in a rush. Yeah. Prioritize and know what is to be first and what is to come after, afterwards. That's all I can say. But yes, relationship, have the right kind of relationship with your mentor, with your friends, with your colleagues who are also preparing for the exam. Develop those kind of relationships, make it so strong that you are growing every day, even visibly also, towards your preparation and towards succeeding, in the exam also.
Okay, so the next one is, what is your motto in life? If you may want to share, or
Motto in life these days is be available.
okay,
Be available to help somebody, be available to listen to somebody, be available to, work with somebody, be available to whatever is required by others. Live your life for others. Don't live your life for yourself.
okay. I think that's powerful. Uh, yeah, we should not rush, and we should prioritize our aim in life. That's a suggestion for uh, those of us who are in a relationship or who wants to be in a relationship. So that's very interesting, and to have more intimate relationship with our mentor. That's very important. If you are serious, student. Okay, we'll go to the next one. The name is not there. I'll just read out. Sir, to appear UPSC, is there any advantage between arts and science? I think this question has been addressed. So we'll go to the next one. Okay, this is from, the name is not there. Anyway, I'll just read it out. Sir, is it preferable to prepare for UPSC along with other exams like SSC or banking, since UPSC is a very challenging and not meant for everyone who could be a graduate? Yeah, who could be a graduate.
I have only prepared for one exam, and that is UPSC, and I've never really written other exams. So I'm very, limited in my knowledge of other exams. But I have seen people preparing for 2, 3 exams together. But always with, I'm always in the, I always feel that it's always good to take up one subject, one exam at a time, give your best. And especially if you take up UPSC, then even if you are not able to clear it, it is going to be helpful for many other exams also. So preparing together is okay, but writing exams, different exams at once, for me, that is not how I do it. It may work for some other people. I don't discourage them, or I'm not saying it is bad. Please do it if it is helpful for you. You have to get a job. You have to, not everybody is going to get the same kind of jobs, and whatever is available and whatever you are good at, explore it and try to get it. And from there on, if you want to go for another job also, you keep working on it, no problem. But in my case, I stick to one exam. I cleared that exam because I stick to one exam, and I found that that exam was well suited to me, and I didn't feel the need to prepare for, or go to other exams at the same time. And I gave my all, and I knew I would clear it. Maybe after giving my best effort, and by God's grace, I did it, and that's how it worked. So I did not need to go for any other exam. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll go to YouTube live comments. Let me see if there is any comment. Okay. There is one from Lalom Baipe from YouTube live. The question is, sometimes I have faced enigma in my preparation, and also I used to lack endurance and ruminate poorly, which has a great efficacy in my preparation. So can you suggest me to have a consistency in this? I think he's talking about consistency during his preparation for the civil service.
Consistency, how to have consistency, is that the question?
Yeah, I think that's what he wants to ask.
Okay, consistency, yeah, as I have mentioned before, prepare a timetable, prepare a routine that you need to follow every day, and stick to those timetable, and don't go by your moods, don't go by things that are happening around you. Stick to what you have to do, and don't go here and there. Don't listen to too many people. decide on certain things that you need to do and sit down and start working on it. And then I think will give you consistency.
Okay, okay, that's great. So, yes, there is thank you, sir, and thank you so much, sir, PG Singsit and KSO Silong Branch for this platform. May this Zoom meet your future users. These are some of the thank you comments. One more question from the Zoom chat from Mang Haukip. Sir, is it possible to crack UPSC without any coaching? If yes, what will be the challenges? Will YouTube class help us get through? Will that suffice?
I think there are many tutorials and websites like Unacademy, though I don't go into, I don't explore those websites anymore, but I see many people doing that and they are able to prepare on their own. Like I say, it's the discipline that is most important. And if you can stick to something that is to be done, and if you can collect the material and just go ahead with it, I think it should be fine. Everything is out there in the internet now. So yeah, I don't know why people are going to a coaching class these days anymore, because there's so many materials out there. If you're disciplined enough, then I think you can crack it. I can't guarantee. I don't know. I've not seen or heard anybody who say that they have cleared UPSC without coaching, but I think it is doable. That's my opinion.
Okay, okay, that's clear enough. There is another question from Rose Diak Loon, BA Honors Political Science, Miranda House, Delhi University. Her question is, sir, how many hours did you usually study in a day during your preparation?
Well, I was locked up. I locked myself in a room. So except for my sleeping hours, it is my study hours. So I don't interact. I don't go outside. I don't, except for eating food, like I was saying, for my daily walk, exercise and food and talking to my, to the waiter or to the hotel guy. I think apart from that, there was no social life as such. So I stick to my room and I sleep. I wake up, I read, and then I go for lunch, dinner, and then read again, and then sleep again. So yeah, you can say. I can't say the number of, the hours, but it's almost 24 hours, except for my sleeping time and eating time.
Okay, okay.
That is for 1 year. Yeah.
For a whole 1 year. Okay.
Yeah.
There is another one. I will take questions, sir, till 9 p.m. Is that fine with you?
Come again?
Can I take questions till 9 p.m.? We have about 10 minutes.
No problem.
9.
No problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There is another one. Name is not there, but anyway, I'll read it out. Sir, how did you motivate yourself during your CS preparation? Did you ever feel like quitting while preparation?
Very much. I want to quit every day.
Okay.
It's tough. It's not easy. So many things to read, and then you are, falling behind, and you're not able to cover up so many things, the pressure, the tension, But then, like I said, do whatever you can today, and then, look forward to another day and try to cover up slowly, maybe the next day or maybe within the next week. It goes on, but stick to your routine. Never give up. Many times you want to give up.
Okay. Yeah, that's everyone hardest. Whether it's civil service or whether it's academics. Even in my profession, quitting has always been the challenge. Anyway, that's great, sir. Let me read out another one from John Haukip. Sir, what are your challenges of being a Christian bureaucrat? And how do you deal with those challenges? I think this is answered. It's already answered. John, I'm sorry. Maybe you have missed out the earlier questions, but sir has spoken about this to all of us before. So we'll not take that one. I'm sorry. Sir, last adingin na. question last adingin tulai civil service experience ho student ho simlai ho hi dai le like their motivation to have power, their motivation to become rich if they are into the civil service, it's becoming very clear, and it's very common, it seems now. So what is your take on this? Are we moving in the right direction, this kind of motivations? And it's very encouraging that a civil service officer like you, who knows, being so honest and God-fearing, I think many students, aspirants should learn from you. But for my general understanding of our society or the present students, aspirants, is that power and money seems to be more, the driving force. So what is your take on this?
Yeah, different people have different motives, and these motives drives them to succeed also. I have friends who have been dreaming for years to become an IPS officer and an IS officer, and they would do whatever it takes to become that. And then when they become one, they enjoy this job also, with all the powers and with all the facilities, status, and position that it offers also. So they do enjoy, and it is not wrong to dream and to aspire for those things also, because it is what it gives also. But when it comes to my own experience, I was motivated to. I never thought of being in the civil services. In fact, I wanted to be a doctor. I failed my entrance exam and I could not be a doctor. And I continued with my master's. And then I wanted to do PhD, but I was not good in my subject. So I gave up the idea of becoming a PhD scholar in my subject. And then after that, since my father was retiring in 2005, I finished my MSc in 2005. So somebody has to have a job in the family. And that is when I started looking for a job, and UPSC came. My cousin brother, few years before, got into the service. He is in the IRS right now. And he was a motivating factor, and I thought that is something that I also should try. And I did try, and the first attempt, I cleared my prelims, and I knew that the exam was for me. So to me, my motivating factor was to find a job and support my family and feed my own self, and be independent. That was all I dreamed. And now getting into the service, that is what motivates me also. And if I have been somebody who is always willing to be an IS officer, and then if IS is something that I always wanted to be, then I would have seen my job also in a different way, and a different outlook also. So I cannot judge, but people have different things, and people have different callings. I'm glad that I have my own calling, and I'm happy I'm happy with the way I'm called and the way I'm able to serve through my service. And I can only say I'm thankful to God for the opportunity that He has given to me, which is not given to many other. And I'm grateful. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, sir, for the wonderful answer to my questions. The last question for our session. This is, sir, what is your biggest challenge in uniform service?
Well, that's I'm not able to really think of the biggest challenge. But yes, biggest challenge would be to be able to look back years from now, and to be able to say that I have contributed something in my own way to the service and to the society as a whole. Today, I am in sometimes the opportunities that I have may not be as I wanted it because of many other factors. I may not be having good postings, so-called good postings, I would say, or so-called this and that, and I may be disappointed at times, and I may feel that I'm not able to do more. Those kind of disappointment does come, and it's a challenge. And sometimes you say, "Oh, I'm not much useful to anybody, or I'm not able to do much because I lack the opportunity." But then one thing I have learned is over the last 3-4 years that wherever I'm posted, it is not about the post that I occupy. It is about my attitude. It is about how I see my profession and how I see myself contributing to that profession in a positive way. So when I get posted in places where it is considered to be not a very good posting, I no longer feel bad also, but I can see that there is something, always something to contribute or to learn from. And I think that was the challenge before, some sort of, I'm not getting proper opportunities. I'm not able to do what I want to do. And those disappointments were a challenge for me, but now I have overcome those. And like I said, I'm available anywhere, any place, anytime for any job, so that as long as it's going to help somebody, even if it is one person, I don't have to touch the life of thousands and thousands of people, which the job provides. I mean, which the job also provides such opportunities. But even if I can't do it also, if I can impact one life in my entire career in service, that's good enough for me. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's a great philosophy that you have being in the uniform service. Thank you so much. Dr. Thomas wants to ask one question. So Dr. Thomas from Venkateswara, he's an assistant professor. So I give time to Dr. Thomas to ask any queries.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful session. This is my big question. It is no secret that Manipur is a corrupt state. However, people do not want to talk about it, maybe because everyone is responsible for it in some way or the other. And you are working with the Home Department as an IPS officer. I think you might have seen the corrupt practices in terms of recruitment, in terms of posting, and you have seen the corrupt practices in your department. So how do you deal with it? Or how do you deal with the daily battles and the battles within you?
Thank you. Yes, you have rightly pointed out, there is no denying that there is corruption in the society and everywhere around us. And it's a challenge that I also struggle with. But one thing that I have learned over the years, I wish things were better. I'm also sometimes a victim of that kind of practices, in the sense that I also need to pay, or need to give certain things just to get work done. And I used to feel frustrated. And I kind of try to not be in those places where I need to, and I just wait until things are done on your own. Sometimes they say, if you need to get things faster, you need to do this, do that. And I say, I'll wait. No, in certain cases, just because I don't want to be part of that whole process. And as far as I'm concerned, I cannot say that, I would do something and this corruption thing will disappear from the society. It has been there from time immemorial. It is part of the human psychology and even part of the human society. And, it is something that will continue to happen also. The degree may be different now and then, depending on the kind of public opinion that we have in the society. And I'm hoping that in our generation, the public opinion will be tilted towards, this side where we fight corruption and say there should be minimum corruption, And on with that thought, my stand is wherever I am, wherever I'm posted or wherever I'm placed, I'm going to fight this corruption thing in my own small way, in my area of influence. I can't go beyond that also. But within my area of influence, let me do whatever I can so that this small thing that I do, if somebody else is doing it in another place also, it will slowly, slowly kind of come together and, in a way become lead to bigger changes in the society, at least in my generation. That is only my hope and prayer. And that is when I interact with students also and try to say this, that if we have more officers, God-fearing officers, or somebody who really want to fight this corruption, because many times we talk about corruption, but then when we get into the system, we also get absorbed into the system and we find it hard, And I have seen some colleagues and friends, becoming victim of those things over a period of time. And I'm also struggling with it, but by God's grace, I try my best to fight those things, and I'm satisfied with the way I am moving as of now. So yes, it is something that everybody needs to do. It is not just about me. And with this new generation of students coming up and trying to coming up with with this idea that we have to fight corruption, I think things will change slowly. But I'm just being patient. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. We have a very, very fruitful and very insightful session with you. It's already 2 hours, and it seems like it's just a few minutes. That was very powerful and very insightful discussions that we have. Sir, once again, thank you. As a moderator, I'm really thankful for your energy, for your sacrifice, for giving your inputs to aspiring civil service aspirants, as well as even those of those others who are already in another profession. It's very interesting and very insightful for all of us. So yeah, now I would give time to the Cookie Students Organization executive. They are already Dinah, if you are there, please be ready. Sir, there are already many thank you comments, congratulations in Zoom chat, even in YouTube live chat. So I will not read out all those things. So there have been so many positive comments from all the participants, and it's very encouraging. Yes, it's very encouraging because we have full attendance. We have 100+ participants. Some of them they cannot join here, or so they went to YouTube live. So many people, many students are really into this session. That's a good part of it. So yeah, Dinah, Vanikim, if you are here, may I ask you to say the vote of thanks? This is Dinah. She is the Assistant Education Secretary of the Cookie Students Organization Shillong branch.
Tipa Omin, Songkitu in Itai Theovin, Kaima Hunkipong Maseleng, Kehi Kamin Dinah Vanekim Haukip, Tuletua Ke Shillong branch Education Department Assistant Secretary Katu Ahim. Tuni programu lolhing ya umziin kipatu say lo te hipon ama sa penin tuni webinar hingong tu chule technical ho sa apan pu Dr. Thomas Haukam Vai Phaile Golhang Gogo Haukip Education and Statistics Secretary chunga ikipa naw sangta ipongove amani hi ke so in webinar akigon si le thon lowa pan na sa ta lazing ahilone Abanin Mike Ho sa ipan piu golhang thangolin kitken Amazon tuni kingon masat pena pat tuni sana hi thon lo hela program anup na thei chana e hin tol pi zingu ho sa ipan pi zing ziun ama chunga ki pathu ipong kitove chuting kato khompi KSO Shillong branch executives ho apan na thei chana pan ahin la na chungwa kipathu kahin saye. And most importantly, tunia speaker aipan pu PG Singsit IPS Amazon keso in request ki bol na chunga dalo hela thanom ta a phat hin la pi uwa chuchung chona message hoita challenges and attitudes my experience di mangcha a til khona sangta e hin nei pi uwa questions hung ki dong ho jong kitchen ta a hin hil chit pi ji un ama chunga ki pathu sangpen ipong uwe to ding kho ta nei zong le e ho ding a aphat it lo hela aphat man tam ta te ho e hin ki man cha pi khomovin ama zong amalama ato na sana pathinin phathei bo changjing ta han chule tu ni webinar a participants hung jaw jo si chunga zong KSO thalhengin ki pa thu ka hin sei KSO in program ki gong zong le alo hin sa to participants ho hi ovin questions hindong ho hintin achaina chana hung jaw ho chunga zong KSO in ka ki pa naw sangpen ka hin phong ove mabana zong KSO in chitabang webinar ho hi hung ke gong kit di hin thanom ta ai hung pan kit diwin ka hin timwe tunia ikiman chana sungwa to hil hi han bol hinglal zong le feedbacks pe the hi hichan chu ki pa thu ka hin sei na hin tin avelin webinar hung jaw zo si chule key person so chunga avel velin ki pa thu ka hin pongi
Okay, thank you, Dinah. Kipaumin, a word of thanks in Aitavin. Sir, if you have any last word, maybe I'll just give you a short time, any last word. Otherwise, maybe we can just close the session.
I just want to say thank you to KSO Shillong again and to all the participants for your patient hearing and looking forward to meet each one of you in person maybe someday and interact with you again. Thank you all so much and have a good night.
Okay, thank you, sir. As I said, there are already hundreds of thank you comments in both the Zoom and YouTube. So all the participants, thank you for attending, and please join us again in the next webinar from KSO Shillong branch. We will be talking on different career aspect the next time. So please join us again, and thank you so much for joining us as a moderator, all of you technical hosts, the resource person, KSO executive, and all of you. Thank you and good night, and see you again.